Here is where we left off last time. Now, today, what we're going to be doing is configuring our terminal along with our shell. So if I open our very beautiful terminal over here, we're using Kitty, and there's a couple of reasons why I've personally preferred this terminal compared to Alacritty, even though I was a die-hard Alacritty fan in the past. And that mainly just has to do with font rendering. If I open Alacritty and compare Alacritty's font rendering to Kitty's, you'll notice that actually, hold on, let me zoom in so you can see it much clearer. Kitty's font rendering just seems a bit smoother and rounded. Not quite sure how to describe it, but if you've used macOS, you'll get what I'm talking about. If I type something like hello over here and hello over here, you'll notice that Alacritty's text rendering is just way too sharp. Like it's too sharp. It's kind of like taking a sword or a knife and then just shoving it down your throat and then just pulling that knife all the way down until the knife basically exits the other side of your body. It's quite a gory scenario to imagine, but that's what this feels like. It just looks sharp. That's the best way for me to describe it. But Kitty, on the other hand, the font, although still quite sharp and really good looking, it's not as sharp as Kitty. As Alacritty, I mean. So that's the personal reason as to why I use Kitty, along with, of course, a bunch of other performance benefits and whatever other features that Kitty implements compared to Alacritty. So that is personally why I use it. Now, what we're going to be doing is configuring Kitty because this is the terminal that Hyprland expects you to use by default as well, as is made evident by the fact that it is required for you to install the Kitty terminal and not the Alacritty one before you start Hyprland. Now, enough with that, let's just get started. So let's open our Kitty config file, which is going to be inside config, kitty.conf. If it's not there, you're just going to have to create it. So create the file, and it's going to be empty by default. Now, let's just make sure the folder actually exists. So config, kitty, yes, it's there, it's just empty. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is change the font itself. So let's change the font family to a different font. I have installed a couple of different font families, especially nerd fonts, because they're going to be required. Nerd fonts are basically fonts which have been patched to include certain icons that can be used in various different scenarios, whether it be inside of your waybar or inside of your text editor or inside of your terminal itself in order to show you different icons based on the shell that you're using. Nerd fonts are really useful and versatile and give you a lot of functionality with basically monospaced fonts that have icons patched into them. Because of that reason, you know what? I'll do you a favor and use the JetBrains mono nerd font mono. Okay, now this font, as you can see here, this is the font that you're most likely going to have seen already in pretty much every other video that's out there. This is the most popular font. You know what? No, let's not use this font. Instead, I'll use Geist mono nerd font mono because that font looks good as well. There you go. This is what I use on my main machine. I'll be using that here as well. So that is the font. Make sure to pick a good font that you like. You can go over to nerdfonts.com and choose whichever font that you want from there. So let's close out this stuff. Let's go to nerdfonts.com. And over here, you should be able to find a list of fonts that you can choose. So go to font downloads. You can choose your favorite font from here. You can download it and install the font if you're on Arch Linux, or if you're on Arch Linux, most likely the package is going to be available in the AUR. So you can just look for whichever nerd font you want. Let's say Cascadia Cove. You just look for Cascadia Cove, and most likely you're going to find it as a nerd font. Now here you don't, so we'll just search for Cascadia, and there you go. TTF Cascadia Code nerd. This is the font that you're going to want to install if you're installing this font. So you just do that, get your favorite font, and put that as the first line here. So okay, after our font family is done, we'll just pick font size. The Geist mono nerd font, this goes best with a font size of 13, so you can choose that. Now, if I open another terminal, 13 looks good. However, if I wanted to make it easier for you to see, then I could just increase that to 14. And by the way, if you want to update the config for any Kitty window that's already open, you just have to press Ctrl-Shift-F5, and that's going to update it for you. So I can open another terminal. This is what I see. Fantastic. Now, after that's done, we then move on to disabling ligatures. Now, you can disable ligatures, yes. Now, what are ligatures? Ligatures are basically taking two glyphs, taking, let's say, the equals glyph and then the greater than symbol, and then putting them into one character like this. So if you have written math before, then most likely you will have noticed symbols like this, where if you put two greater than symbols together, they form into sort of a one greater than symbol along with a line that's over here. Okay, that's basically what a ligature is. It's just taking two glyphs, two characters, and merging them together to make them look as one, so that the brain finds it an easier time interpreting it. That's it. If you don't want this ligature feature, you can actually disable this by typing disable ligatures yes. However, I actually do like it, so I'm going to keep it as no. Then after that, you have enable audio bell. This feature actually starts to get quite annoying. So what happens is if you have enable audio bell as yes, then every single time you press backspace at an empty prompt, okay, you're going to hear a hideous bell, which is just not fun at all. So if you want to avoid hearing that absolutely hideous bell, then you can just turn off the audio bell here. There's practically no benefit to having it, and if you've used tiling window managers in the past, if you've used BSPWM, i3 and whatnot, most likely you've used a terminal like URXVT, which means that you're not going to have fancy features like this anyway, which means that you're not going to notice whether it's there or not. So my suggestion to you, just please, for the love of God, if you like your ears, turn it off, because that bell is not fun to listen to. Then after that, shell is going to be ZSH. That's obvious because that's the shell that we're using here. Then after that, shell integration disabled. Now, there's a reason for passing in shell integration disabled, and that reason, let's actually take a look at it inside of Kitty's config. So if we look for kitty config file, actually get the full config file, we should find it inside of that. So if we look for shell integration, we should be able to find it here. Okay, so this is an option in kitty config. So if we scroll down all the way till here, yeah, so this is basically going to enable shell integration on supported shells. So this enables features such as jumping to previous prompts, browsing output of previous command in a pager, so on and so forth. This also has something to do with your cursor. So if you want a normal cursor with just a block and no other fanciful effects, you're going to have to disable shell integration. Then after that, we're going to, of course, change the cursor shape to be block. And if we reload, there you go. Hold on. Reload. Okay. Let's close and reopen. There you go. We get our fantastic block that is not yet blinking, which is good. Then URL style. If you want, you can change the URL style to be curly. By default, it's going to be something like this. So we go to google.com. This is what it looks like. Okay, it's just an underline, but if you want a curly URL style, you can do that. If we reload and hover, yeah, this is curly, as you can see. Then after that, we have a bunch of window settings that we're going to have to set for Kitty. So remember, window size is one of them, and you can set that to no. The reason why you want to set this to no is because if sometimes what can happen is Kitty opens with a particular window size and Hyprland takes a second in order to expand the Kitty window in order to fill whatever size that it has to fill. And because that takes probably a 0.1 or 0.5 seconds, you can actually see the difference between opening the window and it resizing. And so you just don't want that to happen, which means you're going to have to turn off remembering the window size so that the window size is dictated by Hyprland and not by the terminal itself. If for whatever reason you prefer opening the Kitty window in floating or any other reason, and you want to actually set a window width and window height, you can do that with initial window width. You can set it to something like 640 in pixels, or you can also use columns like 75C or 75C for the columns and rows. But we'll just stick to pixels, so we'll make it 640 by 480. Then initial window height, we can pick 480 here, 480. Then after that, we have window padding width. So this is just going to be the padding that you see on the sides of the window. So you can set that to something like 30 if you prefer a fanciful effect. As you can see, that's quite a lot. Or if you want to tone it down a little, you can go to 20 and just find your sweet spot. So here, 20 looks pretty good, so we'll keep it at that. After the padding, we have cursor blink interval. This interval is going to dictate how often the cursor is going to blink. If you don't want the cursor to blink, of course, if you want it to be like just a solid cursor, then you can set that to 0 and then the cursor will not blink. Now here we get to a bit more of the appearance style. what we're going to do here is change background opacity to 0.8. The reason why we do this is so that we can get Hyprland's absolutely fantastic blur working. Now, 0.80 should be the same thing, but now if we just close and reopen, okay, here it still doesn't seem to comply. So let's see what's going on. Background opacity just needs to be 0.80. Okay, maybe we need to close this window as well. So we'll close this. Okay, no, it actually did comply. As you can see here, the background opacity is working. It's just that the wallpaper seems to be one that doesn't exactly show it properly. So let's go back to our config file here. Great. Now let's open a new terminal. There you go. Now, after that, we'll have to change a couple of settings related to the scroll bar. Now, what I mean is if I show you the, okay, let's just run something like neofetch. There you go. You see neofetch here. Now, the issue with this terminal is you're going to find a scroll bar whenever you try and resize the window. So let's say I try and resize the window, you're going to see a scroll bar over here, which just looks, again, ugly, and it completely ruins the look of any fetch tool that you're using. And if you want to shrink the window so that you can only see the fetch, it completely ruins the look. And so we're going to avoid that by changing the opacity of the scroll bar to be just completely transparent, so you can't see it at all. So we'll do that using scroll bar handle opacity. You want to turn that to 0. Scroll bar track opacity, you want to turn that to 0 as well. Then scroll bar track hover opacity, scroll bar track hover opacity, you want to turn that to 0 as well. Okay, so that is for the scroll bar stuff. Now after that, let's just put all of these in order, really satisfy our OCD, make it look really nice. Let's push this all the way to the edge. There you go. Perfect. Looks slick and sexy. Amazing. Now, confirm window. Okay, it's actually confirm OS window close. So confirm OS window close. If you notice, set this to no. If you notice, what happened earlier was every single time you wanted to close an application, it would ask us for that. What was it? It was the confirmation box. If you want to turn that confirmation box off, you just have to confirm OS window close. You want to set that to no, which is not going to give you, okay, hold on, okay, it says 0. My bad. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Perfect. And actually gave us a chance to show you this. So if you don't want this box, which gets annoying after some time, you just have to turn that off. So put a 0 over here and we're good. Reopen. And now even if we try and close an app, it has no problem closing without giving us a warning. Then after that, lastly, we're going to deal with performance settings. And the only performance setting that we're going to be messing around with Kitty today with Kitty is going to be the sync to monitor. This is basically vsync. And if we turn off vsync, then the refresh rate of the terminal is not going to be limited by your monitor's refresh rate. So if your monitor's refresh rate is capped at something like 60 Hertz, your terminal is not going to be capped at 60 Hertz, which means that input delay is going to be decreased. And also the terminal is just going to run at higher FPS. So sync to monitor, turn that off if you want better performance, and that's it. That is going to be it for our Kitty config file. Awesome. Now that we have done that, there's still one last thing to do, which is customize our shell itself. Now, how will we do that? Simple, we just have to use my Zsh. So let's go over to our browser, go over to myzsh. Once you're here, you want to click on my Zsh, install my Zsh, and install it via curl. So you can triple click in order to highlight an entire line of text. This triple click thing, by the way, it works no matter what app you're using. So if I show you as an example, you can triple click here as well to highlight this entire paragraph. Now you can do this for anything else. So if you want to highlight an entire line to copy, triple click, Control C, and of course go here and paste it inside the terminal. So that is going to clone my Zsh, which is a plugin framework for ZSH. Here, there seems to already be some ZSHRC stuff. That's fine. You can just overwrite it. Now, most likely you're not going to see this because as soon as you log out and log back in, okay, there are chances that it might not show you if you have a ZSHRC already. But even if you do see this message, you just have to put in a Y over here. And that's it. So this is what our prompt looks like. But we're still not done. We have to get power level 10K. So let's go to power level 10K. You just want to install that and get a really minimalist prompt that looks good. So let's go here, installation, oh my zsh, you want to clone this repository. That's it. Now, if you're in China, you can use this. Users in China can use the official mirror for a faster download. But even if you're in China, you can just copy and paste this, and it's not going to take more than 30 seconds. Then you want to go into your zshrc, which is actually .zshrc. Here you want to change the theme to power level 10k / power level 10k. Okay, close and reopen. It's super C to close, by the way. Super C to close a window, super Q to open a terminal. We still haven't customized the Hyprland keybindings. We'll do that later. Now, you just have to answer the questions here in order to fix power level 10k configuration, or create a new one rather. Yes, it looks like a diamond. Yes, lock. Yes, upward arrow. It's pointing at 1. Yes, no overlap. And here, this is where you can choose and customize your prompt style. So if you wanted something like the ones you usually see in my videos, then you just have to pick pure, then pure, or whichever was the first one, whatever the name was. Character set, Unicode, 8 colors, show current time, no, prompt height, 2 lines, disconnected, left frame, and let's see, white, color, sparse, spacing, icons, you want few icons, concise, enable a transient prompt. Yes, as you can see, transient prompt makes things look more minimal. Beautiful. Verbose, yes, you can just set instant prompt mode to verbose and apply changes. That's it. So that is how you can get a prompt that looks like this. Now, we might actually have to go into Kitty's config and increase 20 to something like 30 so that it looks better. There you go, looks much better. Or maybe even something like 27. 27. Pick a real nice odd number. There you go. Perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Now, after this, what else is it? We've basically configured everything. The only thing left is getting some colors for our beautiful terminal. Now, you can choose whichever colors that you want. I'm going to be picking one dark. So we just have to search for one dark kitty theme, and you will find a GitHub repository of lots of kitty themes. So here you can click on this one by Dexpota and click on themes here. Find the kitty theme you want. So you can look for one dark. There you go, onedark.conf. And here you want to copy this part, copy all the colors, and paste them into your kitty config file. So here, go at the end, you can put a comment that says colors below, and just paste the colors. Now, if you reload, there you go, you instantly see a difference. Now, if we do something like type in neofetch, you're going to be able to see the beautiful colors over here. But this doesn't quite look like one dark, or maybe it does. You can pick something else if you don't like one dark. There's pencil dark. You can pick whichever one that you want, but we're going to be keeping one dark for now because it seems to be wallpaper agnostic. This is the theme that the Atom text editor that you used to use way back in the day. But yeah. Now, along with this, let's do one last change, which is changing the border color on Hyprland itself. So let's go to config hyprland.conf. Here you want to look for border and change the border color so that it can be much lighter and different. So active border, let's keep something minimal. Let's see what we can pick. Okay, we can pick a different color, probably something darker. Let's see, what color can we choose? This is very interesting. Okay, let's pick blue here. Okay, we'll pick any random color. Let's pick this, color 1. Okay, now we just paste. Doesn't work, of course, because we have to pass in the alpha value. So let's put in AA here. Okay, seems to be right. Let's pick another one. Color 3. Just guessing with these, you can pick whichever one you want. Okay, orange. Come on, blue. Come on. Okay, let's see. Did we get blue? Is it the same thing? Okay, no. Blue. Come on. Why? What's going on? Ugh. Serious. We're gonna have to go into the config file. Nope, can't see the color anyway. Come on, which color is blue? God damn it. Let's try color 6. Oh, we can just use neofetch. Never mind. Okay, you see what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to get the colors right. You can pick whichever color you want. Come on. There you go. Perfect. Blue. Looks good. And that should do it for changing our Hyprland window border colors as well. There you go. So what we did today was configuring our shell to look pretty clean and slick, along with changing our Hyprland window borders and changing our kitty's terminal settings as well. That's it. And by the way, if you want to learn how to make a full Hyprland setup with all of the different little bells and whistles that you could think of, like custom theme switchers and wallpaper switchers, so on and so forth, you can go ahead, click the first link in the description and check out hyperaccelerator. It's a program where I teach you exactly how you can take something like Hyprland, which seems to be just another Wayland compositor, and completely transform it into a desktop environment along with all of the other things that I mentioned earlier. So if you want to know how to do that for yourself, you can go ahead, click the first link in the description and check out the program. If you liked the video, hit like. If you loved it and want to see more like this in your feed, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Stay rising. Mwah.